ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। त्रिनाचिकेतस्त्रिभिरेत्वसन्धिम्
त्रिनाचिकेतस्त्रिभिरेत्वसन्धिम्
त्रिकर्मकृत् तरति जन्म मृत्यु
त्रिकर्मकृत् तरति जन्म मृत्यु
ब्रह्मजज्ञं देवमीड्यं विदित्वा
ब्रह्मचर्यं देववीर्यं विदित्वा
निचाये मां शान्तिमत्यन्तमेति
निचाये मां शान्तिमत्यमेति
त्रिनाचिकेतस्त्रयमेतद्विदित्वा
त्रिनाचिकेतस्त्रयमेतद्विदित्वा
य एवं विद्वांश्चिनुते नाचिकेतम्
एवं विद्वांश्चिनुते नाचिकेतम्
समृत्युपाशान् पुरतः प्रणोद्य
समृत्युपाशान् पुरतः प्रणोद्य
शोकादिगो मोदते स्वर्गलोके
शोकादिगो मोदते स्वर्गलोके
एष तेऽग्निर्नचिकेतस्वर्ग्यः
एष ते नचिकेतस्वर्गः
यमवृणीता द्वितीयेन वरेण
यमः द्वितीयेन वरेण
एतमग्निं तवैव प्रवक्ष्यन्ति जनासः
तवैव प्रवक्ष्यन्ति जनाः
तृतीयं वरं नचिकेतो वृणीष्व
तृतीयं वरं नचिकेतो वृणीष्व
His second boon that is asked for, that Agni, following which one can gain Svargaloka. And we saw that, and we'll repeat it. It can also be used, it can use both for doing the Nachiketa Agni karma, and when done along with Upasana, has even better result. But in order to get that result, there's a lot of adhikaritvam, a lot of preparation that is required. It's not everybody who simply says, I want to go to Svargaloka, and here is a nice little technique available which assures me a place in Svargaloka after my death. In the meanwhile, I am going to enjoy this Martyaloka as much as I can. Whether I stay within dharma, I don't stay within dharma, whether somebody else gets hurt in the process, I am not going to look at it because I am going to do Nachiketa Agnihi, therefore I am assured of a place in Svargaloka. No. That does not guarantee. There are other conditions that need to be fulfilled. So in this verse that we were looking at yesterday, that karma, Nachiketa karma, there's a praise for that, but there's also certain conditions laid for that. Just because I am performing this Nachiketa Agnihi does not guarantee that I will get to Svargaloka like anything else. Like any other achievement, unless one is prepared in every way, the qualifications required to get that end. The best example that I have is what my high jump coach told me many decades ago. You approach the bar to jump unless you go with the knowledge that I will jump. I will cross over. The chances of crossing over are minimal. How do I ensure that I have the confidence that I will cross over? By getting ready for it. All the preparation that goes into it. For anything in life, that preparation becomes critically important, and certainly for these Vedic phala that we are looking for, definitely a certain amount of preparation is required. And in this verse, Dharmaraja says, Trinachiketa Tribiretya Sandhim, Trinachi Karmakrit Tarati Janma Mrityu. One verb, Tarati, in the first line. One crosses over the cycle of Janma and Mrityu. A very desirable result. This is what everybody is striving for, even if one doesn't know. To get over this repeated Janma Mrityu, because the Janma is not all pleasant. And that is what I am trying to get rid of, the feeling that I am subject to Shoka. And that can be done only through knowledge and through understanding that I am already freed. Here, in the second boon that he is asking for, whatever freedom one gets is apekshika. At least that much I should get, no? That is how we live life. Let me get the little comfort that money can buy. At least let me get that. I don't know what else is there. Now I understand that there is something called Svargaloka and Brahmaloka, which Shastra tells me, and I accept Shastra's words for it, will be a very pleasant place. Okam atitya modate Svargaloke. Therefore, I can work for it. If I have to make some giving up of things which I think will give me pleasure here and now, it is worth it. So Dharma Raja talks about these three triple factors. He doesn't explain this in the verse itself. What is the Trinachiketa? What is Tribhisandhi etya. Sandhim etya. And what is Trikarma Krit? We have to take the help of Bhashyakara. Bhashyakara tells us how to understand these words. With this we will get Tarati Janma Mrityu. What are those? He says, Trinachiketaha
Trinachiketaha
Hi Kritva Nachiketo Nischit Natigenochito Yena
Vikritva
Nachikitodena
Saha Trinachiketaha.
Saha Trinachiketaha.
One who does, leave it there, don't change it. One who does this Agni karma called Nachiketa Agni. 3 times. Trihi Kritvaha Nachiketaha Agnihi Chitaha. That person, Yena, by whom it is done 3 times, is a simple meaning. Direct word by word meaning, Shankaracharya gives, saying that the one who does this, by whom this is done 3 times, he gains, he crosses over Janma Mrityu, Tarati. But that doesn't sound like a very easy, it sounds too easy. Is that all there is? So Acharya elaborates further. Says, Tad Vijnanaha
Tadvijnanaha
Adhyayanaha
Tadadhyayanaha
Tad Anushthanavan Va.
Tadanushthanavanava.
Yes, okay, follow mechanically something. Somebody tells, one Panditji comes and tells you, okay, put water in this, put some akshada in that. No. That Nachiketa Agni, like any other yajna, has to be done with clarity, with understanding. How are you going to get the end result if you don't know what you're doing? So he says, you do all the Nachiketa Agni 3 times, but how? Tad Vijnanaha. One who has learnt it well, who studied this Agni well. That means not just call one Pandita and do that. That means you go to a teacher and learn. Tad Vijnanaha. And Tad Adhyayanaha. Every day you repeat that. And Tadut Tad Anushthanavan Va. One who is a practicer of that, who performs the Agni. You don't do it mechanically, you learn it, you recite it every day, Adhyayanam Kuru, and follow it. So this is one requirement, that you must do it thrice and you must do it with clarity and understanding. Doing it mechanically also will produce some result for sure. All these will produce Drishtaphala and Adrishtaphala. But if you want the phala that this is to give you, then one has to do all of this. Can anybody do it? Like I said, a person who is otherwise a dushta, who does all things against what is prescribed by Veda, by Shastra. If he does it, can he also gain? No. He'll gain something for sure. But the beauty of this is, when somebody embarks on this with Shraddha, with the confidence that it will happen, then very soon that person, even if he started out as a dushta, will change. Very simple thing. One who does a prayer, any prayer, daily prayer, with sincerity, with commitment. Even if we started out as a cinema villain, will change in time. How does that happen? Tribihi sandhim prapya. Tribihi sandhim etya. What is tribir sandhi? Again, Acharya gives us more than one interpretation for this phrase. Tribihi sandhim prapya. Having gained the threefold relationship, sambandha, in all its true meaning. What does it say? Tribihi
Tribihi
matrapitracharyahi
Matrapitracharyahi
etya
Etya
prapya
Prapya
sandhim sandhanam sambandham. So sandhim here explains as sambandham, that relationship which we will describe further. Matradyanushasanam.
Matradyanushasanam
Matra Adi Anushasanam. Matradyanushasanam. Matra Adi Anushasanam. Yathavat
Yatavat
Prapyetyetat.
Prapyet
This is important. Matradi. The three that is already described. Matra, Pitru and Acharya Anugraha. All our learning through these are the three main teachers. Mata, Pita and Acharya. Initially, Mata is the teacher. Mata is like Ishvara. All-knowing, all-powerful for the child. And is the initial teacher. And that Anushasanam, following what Mata tells you to do. That is why in the early stages of a child's growth, it's so important for the mother to be around. There is a great deal of anxiety in today's world for the mother to go back to her work. And medical science provides you all kinds of facilities by which one can get back to work pretty soon after childbirth. Shastra doesn't recommend it. For the good of the child, Mata has to stay back for the child's growth. I know a few people who've done that, who had very bright careers ahead of them, stopped it, said, I don't want to do it till my child grows up to a certain level. I can hand over the growth to Pita. So, Mata Adi Anushasanam Yathavat. Yathavat means at the right time, in the right way. One who follows what Mata tells, and then Pita tells, and then Guru tells. And of course, later the Guru that we look for is a Guru who is not a blind leading the blind. The Guru we are looking for is who is a Shotriya, who can guide the growing child. So, Mata Adi Anushasanam Yathavat Praptyeti. Who has access to this. We have seen in the Upanishad earlier, Acharyavan Purushaha. Just the fact that there is, in fact, this comes from, this particular phrase comes from Bashyam Upanishad, where Yajnavalkya goes to Janaka's court, and Janaka asks him to teach. And he asks him, what have you learnt so far? And he quotes that I have learnt from my guru Shalini, his putra. His putra, Shailina. And Yajnavalkya, listening to that, says, he talks like the one who is a Matraman, Pitraman, Acharyavan, one who has a Mata, who has a Pita, who has an Acharya. Everybody has a Mata. What do you mean who has a Matraman? It is like saying he is a Dhanavan. Everybody has some Dhanam. Or a Buddhiman. Everybody has some Buddhi. But a Buddhi which is available for use. A Dhanam which is available for use. Not for hoarding. That is what Arjuna calls, if you remember, Karpanya dosha. You have all the buddhi, but you don't use it. No good to anybody. So, Atruman, Pitruman, Acharyavan are people who have not only access to Mata, Pita and Guru, but also they are Anushasanam. They are able to gain the advice and the blessing of Mata, Pita and Guru. So those people, so already one set of qualifications set up. Or for somebody who is from a separated family, in childhood, his getting benefit of Nachiketa Agni is already minimized. That is one split of this Tribihi Sandhim Eti. But that's not the only thing. Tadhi
Tadhi
Pramanya Karanam
Pramanyakaranam
Shrutyantarat
Prutyantarad
Shrutyantarad
Avagamyate
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 Yatha Matruman Pitruman Va
Yatha
Yatha Matraman
Matraman Va
Pitraman Va
Yatha Matruman Pitruman Ityadehe. This is Shruti quoted from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. But the other way of splitting this threefold is Veda Smriti Shittairva.
Vedas
Veda Smriti Shishtairva.
This is another way of looking at it. The pramana from which you learn everything, one is Mata Pita Guru. The other way of looking at it is Veda, Shastra, Smriti, and Shishtaihi. Shishtaihi. Veda, Smriti, Shishtaihi Va. Where does our this learning of all this come from, of life, how to conduct yourself come from? One is clearly what Veda tells us, do this, don't do this. And we also learn a lot of lessons from the Smriti. Manusmriti, Parashara Smriti, so many Smritis are there. They give us lessons about how to conduct life. So that is another source of our getting ready for this, for any end result that we want to gain. Here in this case it is Svargaloka and Brahmaloka. Shishtaihi. Shishtaihi is Vriddha Vyavahara. How do you can read all that, but in practice, how is it to be applied? In situations where there's a dilemma, how is it to be applied? Our society had a lot of respect for age. Simply because they have lived through and hopefully thought through a lot of these, and hopefully they have read all this earlier. And therefore, they can be the guiding force. Again, we are losing all that. We are losing the value. The more and more, as each generation passes, the previous generation or the generation before that is looked upon as, you don't belong to this world. You don't know anything. And therefore, we lose out on what potentially could be a great help. Or alternately, Acharya says, Pratyaksha Anumana Agamai Va. Agamaihi Va. Plural. Ellam compound words. Pratyaksha Anumana Agamaihi Va. Also look at it from learning from observing by all the pramanas. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, all of them. On the basis of what you learned from Shastra. Logic by itself can be very misleading. I observe something and I conclude something and I could be completely wrong. We've seen this. I observe something, I conclude something. From that observation, that conclusion can be totally wrong. I conclude by looking at somebody who has a big car that he should be a happy person. Therefore, my inferences, if I have a big car, I will be very happy. Think about it. Will you be? So, Pratyaksha Anumana Agamaihi Va. And these, if you learn correctly, what do? They provide Vishuddhihi. Direct Vishuddhihi, Atma Shuddhi. And ultimately, all of these are required for Atma Shuddhi, which is a precondition for any kind of Vedic gain. An extremely disturbed or one that is adulterated mind, it's not going to help. So he says, Tebhyo hi Vishuddhihi Pratyaksha. Clearly, they are the ones which are going to get you clarity. In all of these, you find Shastra is a critical this thing because all observations, all conclusions, all inferences, unless they are, and all inputs received from anybody, if they're all, unless they are based on what Shastra says, Shastra Anukula Tarka, they could completely mislead us. Therefore, it says these give you clarity. You learn from the Shastra, you learn from the Guru, then you do use all this to remove any doubts. Chidyante hridaya grantihi. Chiyante sarva samshayaha. That's what they will do. Clear all doubts. So this is Tribhihi Sandhim Prapya. And there's another one. Trikarmakrit. Who is the Trikarmakrit? All of these are like conditions laid out for the person to reach what he is given. Tarati Janma Mrityu. What is the Trikarmakrit? Ij,
Ijya,
Adhyayana,
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 Ananam Karta.
Dhananam Karta,
Ananam Karta.
Oh, the Ij. One who follows what Shastra tells you to do. Who does Vihita karma will not do karma which is prohibited by Shastra. And one who does Adhyayana. It is said that every human being must do Adhyayana, daily recitation of his or her own Veda. We've seen this also many times. Daily Adhyayanam of one's own Veda. And in the modern world, if that is not possible, we simply do Gayatri Mantra. But that is necessary condition. So these three, Ijya, Adhyayana, Dhananam Karta, one who does these three kind of karma, that who follows all these three and does the Nachiketa Agni, gains what? Tarati Adikramati Janma Mrityu. Tarati means it crosses over. Atikramati Janma Mrityu. There's a second line also, there's a verb. Eti. Eti is the verb. Enna eti? Shantim eti. What kind of shanti? Atyantam shantim eti. Gains that level of absolute shanti. Who, just as you do the karma, but you also do the upasana. He says, Brahmajagnyam devamidhyam viditva ichayye mam shantim atyantameti. This Brahmajagnyam, Acharya spent some time explaining the grammar behind it. Kincha
Kincha,
Brahmajagnyam
Brahmajagnyam,
Brahmano hiranyagarbhajataha.
Brahmano Hiranyagarbhajataho,
Brahma means Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara, born of Ishvara. Brahmajaha, one who is born of Ishvara. That is Virat. Born, Hiranyagarbha born. Hiranyagarbha jataha. Brahmajaschasau
Brahmajastasau,
Yascheti
Nyashcheti,
Brahmajagnyah.
Brahmajagnya,
Maja is born of Brahma. And Nya, we know, is one who knows. So it is Brahmaja cha asau Nya. One who is born of Brahmaji and is all-knowing. That is Virat. So he says, Brahmajasau Nyascheti Brahmajagnyah. Acharya himself clarifies, Sarvagno hyasau. Sarvagnyah hi asau. Who is the knower of everything. That Virat, if you contemplate upon that Virat, do upasana to that Virat, Tam Devam
Tam Devam,
Jyotanat Janati
Jyotanadi,
Gunavantam
Gunavantam,
Idyam
Idyam,
Sutam
Nityam,
Shastrataha Viditva
Viditva,
Nichaya
निच्छाय
दृष्ट्वा च आत्मभावेन
दृष्ट्वा च
दृष्ट्वा च
आत्मभावेन
आत्मभावेन
इमां स्वबुद्धिप्रत्यक्षां
इमां
इमां
स्वबुद्धिप्रत्यक्षां
स्वबुद्धिप्रत्यक्षां
शान्तिम् उपरतिम्
शान्तिम्
शान्तिम्
उपरतिम्
उपरतिम्
अत्यन्तम्
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 एति
एति
इति
अतिशयेन एति.
अतिशयेन
अतिशयेन
एति
So
एति.
this one who tam devam, that effulgent being, what is the effulgent being? He defines it as Brahma Jagnyam Devam. Who is Brahmaja and Nya. Jyotanad Janati, that Devam you understand, Gunavantam, one who has all the guna. Ishvara, all the six, unlimited guna. Is idyam, stutyam, worshipful, one who should be worshipped. Knowing them, knowing him, that means having contemplated upon him. How? Shastrataha, understanding through what the words of the Shastra. Nichaya, meditated upon. How do you meditate upon? Upon, he says, drishtva cha atma bhavena. That you meditate upon what, therefore you include the meditator. I meditate upon Ishvara in the form of Virat and meditate saying that Virat is I. Atma bhavena imam swabuddhi pratyaksham shantim eti. The person gets absolute shanti. And what happens? Vairajyam padam
वैराग्यं
वैराग्यं
पदम्
पदम्
jnana karma samuchaya anushtanena
ज्ञानकर्मसमुच्चय
अनुष्ठानेन
अनेन
prapnoti.
प्राप्नोति
प्राप्नोति.
Means that padam. Padam is the abode. Vishnu padam, we can say, in many places. Also trying to remember, 15th chapter, this word padam comes. That place where Ishvara's place, abode. There is no place for Ishvara. But figuratively we say that. Then he sums it up. Samharati. So, our Acharya says, Idanim Agni Vijnana Chayana Phalam Upasamharati. Prakaranancha. Now, that Agni ritual, by the doer of Agni, by the Upasaka of the Agni, that person, what phalam he gets, he repeats that phalam. I repeat that phalam because this now shows the end of the discussion on the second boon. Trinachiketa Trayametat Viditva. Knowing this Trinachiketa Agni in this threefold fashion, evam vidvans chinute nachiketam. The vidvan is upasaka. The doer is there of the Agni rituals and the upasaka on Virat. What happens then? Samrityupashan puratha pranodhya. Shokadigo modate svargaloke. Crossing over shoka, such a person attains svargaloka. Modate, where there is joyfulness. Crosses over shoka. Shoka is, we can talk of physical pain, we can talk of emotional pain, We can even talk of intellectual pain. Physical pain is relatively easy to deal with. Physical pain, everybody has a certain level of ability to bear. Every woman knows physical pain in childbirth. We know we can endure it. We know it will get over. But emotional pain, hurt, stays with us for a very long time. Somebody said something to you 4 years ago, that still goes on in the mind. How can he say that to me? How can he do that to me? That hurt remains for a long time. That memory remains for a long time. Pure hurt. That is Shokha. And that is what Shastra is trying to help us cross over. Physical pain, we can cross. We can endure. We can take a painkiller. We can lessen the pain through Ayurveda, through various other means that are available to us. Shokam. Shokam tarati. That is not so easy to gain. That is where Shastra is required. The knowledge gained from Shastra is required to cross over Shokam. Very start of Bhagavan's Upadesha to Arjuna. Ashocyan anvashocastvam. You are worrying about things which are not worthy of being worried about. That is where Shastra helps us. Bashyam. Trinachiketah
Vinachiketah
Trayam Yathoktam
Trayam
यथोक्तम्
Ya Ishtaka Yavatirva Yathava
Ya
या
Ishtaka
इष्टका
Yatha
Trinachiketah, that which we defined in the previous shloka. Trayam Yathoktam, as was said earlier, Ya Ishtaka Yavatirva Yathava. What materials are required, how many bricks are required, what shapes and sizes are required, how they should be arranged, how they should be organized, and what is the process you need to follow, Yathava. Plus all the other things, the threefold things that were discussed earlier, Yathoksam, Iti Etat Viditva.
Iti
Viditva
Means Avagamya.
avagamya
Yahacha Evam.
Yaha Evam
Atma Rupena Agnim.
Atmarupena Agnim
Vidwan Chinute.
Vidwan
Chinute
Nirvattayati.
Vartayati
Nachiketam Agnim Kratum.
Nachiketam Agnim
agnim
Krutam.
kritum.
So that this, knowing all this, etat viditva, knowing this, avagamya, atma rupena agnim vidvan chinute. One who is able to contemplate as the aikyam between Virat and I. Because this is Virat Upasana. So, Atma Rupena Agnim Vidvan Chinute. Nirvartayati. It finishes, completes. What? Complete what? Nachiketam Agnim Kratum. That Nachiketa Agni, also called Kratu. Kratu is also another word for Agni. Usually used when you're talking about large yajna. Then That is called kratu. Such a, that's why I said it is a repeat. Samharati is he's rounding up and telling us that portion of the karma and the upasana together on Virat, what happens to them? Samrityu Pashan,
Samrityupashan,
Adharma Ajnana Ragadveshadi,
Dharma Ajnana Ragadeshadi,
Lakshanan,
Lakshanan,
Purataha Agrataha,
Purataha Agrataha,
Purvameva Sharira Patadi Yatyarthaha,
Purvameva Sharirapatadityartha,
Mrityupasha. The imagery is that Lord Mithyu carries with him a rope. Pasha is a rope, like a lasso. And he gathers all the Jivatmas whose time has come. That's why he's called Lord of Kala. Gathers all of them. But it's only an imagery. What is this Pasha? Takes them away. Otherwise, if you do Nachiketa Agni, you don't need to be caught in that Pasha. Go to Svargaloka or Brahmaloka. That Mrityupashan, what is that Mrityupasha? It's all us. The Jiva's own doing. Kamakrodadi. Gita also says, Shaknoti haiva shodum prak sharira vimoshanat kamakrododbhavam begam sayuktas sukhi naraha. One who can take charge of Kamakrodha and all that follows from Kamakrodha. Here Acharya defines it as Adharma, Ajnana, Ragadveshadi, Rakshanan. These are the characteristics of all these only. And all of them come from that Ajnana, not necessarily Atma Ajnana. Ajnana of values, Ajnana of what is the purpose of life. That kind of Ajnana. Very down to earth Ajnana. Root cause of everything. Leading to all the Shadripuhu, Kamakodadi. So, Adharma, Ajnana, Ragadveshadi, Lakshanat. One who can control that, Pranodhya, who can keep that away, who can get rid of them, when Purataha. Purataha means before. Agrataha, Purvameva. Before what? Sharira Patadi. Before the fall of the body. That means right here in this Janma, otherwise what do people tell you? You follow what I tell you. After you die, you will go to eternal heaven. The only place where they tell you no. Here he says, right here and now you'll get a benefit. What is a Shanti? And after the fall of the body, you will go to Brahmaloka. And that Brahmaloka, after that is your, again, your own doing. Whether from there you can, Brahmamukti you can gain or you come back. One's own doing. So, Pranodhya,
Pranodhya,
Apahaya,
Apahaya,
Shokadikaha,
Shokadigaha,
Manasaihi Dukkaihi,
Manasaihi Dukkaihi,
Manasaihi Dukkaihi Varjitaha.
Manasaihi Dukkaihi Varjitaha,
It together one. Manasair Dukhair Varjitaha.
मानुषे दुःखैर्वर्जितः इति एतत्
Acharya also very clearly tells us this is the Shokadikaha explains us Manasaihi Dukkaihi Varjita, without Manasa Dukkha. That Dukkha which is otherwise very difficult to cross in this Jagat. It is to cross that you want to go to Swargaloka or any other Loka, even though it is temporary. Manasaihi Dukkaihi Varjita iti etat. What happens? Modate Swargaloke
मोदते
स्वर्गलोके
Vairaje
वैराग्ये
Viranatmaswarupa Pratipattaya.
विराडात्मस्वरूपप्रतिपत्तया
Having got rid of control over those factors which hinder your going there. What are those he has said? Adharma, Ajnana, Ragadvesha Adi. Added Kama Krodha Adi. So in doing this particular Agni, if you're full of all of these, Ajnana, Kama, Krodha, etc., how will you get the effect? How will you get the result that you're looking for? So that elusive Swargaloka becomes even more elusive. So he says, if you can control all this and do the Nachiketa Agni as prescribed in the previous verses, then he gains that Loka, Swargaloka, called Viraja, Brahmaloka. Swargaloka or Brahmaloka. Viradatma Swarupa Pratipattaya, because you identify, you become one with, or you recognize the Aikyam between the self and Virat. Ishvara in the form of Virat. So, all these preconditions having been fulfilled, one can gain that relative sukham of Swargaloka or even Brahmaloka. Yesha,
ईश
let's read this full. Yesha te gnir nachiketah swargyah.
एष ते
अग्निर्नचिकेतः स्वर्गः
Yamavranitha dvitiyena varena.
यमवृणीता
द्वितीयेन वरेण
Etamagnim tavaiva pravakshyanti janasah.
एतमग्निं
एतमग्निं
तवेव
प्रवक्ष्यन्ति
प्रवक्षन्ति
जनासः
जनासः
Tritiyam varam nachiketo vrinishva.
तृतीयं वरं नचिकेतो वृणीष्व
So he is granted the second boon to Nachiketa, and is also told him all the conditions under which that phala can be gained, so that Nachiketa can clearly, if you follow the Purva Para, Nachiketa is not interested in going to any Swargaloka. But Nachiketa asks for it for the Lokahita of the billions of people who think the end is to go to Swargaloka. So that he can actually help them gain that. So the first boon he asked for is for Ihaloka Prapti. Ihaloka Sukha Prapti, that I want my father to be happy. I want to go back to that. My father should see me in the same form and my father should be happy. Ihaloka Prapti. The second low boon, he is asking for Paraloka Prapti. He is asking for a boon for people who can hopefully reach Swargaloka, Brahmaloka, Ityadi. Now you can guess what his third boon will be, where it will lead. nice place to go. We will go there in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Namaha. Harihi Om.